So what are the 5 red flags that people should look for if they suspect their partner's having an affair or planning to have one?
Yeah, low emotional intimacy is a big
Mm,
one. Low emotional intimacy at first, especially not later on. Sometimes they do it more after the affair or during, but low emotional intimacy where they can't share with you what they're thinking, how they're feeling, they don't talk things through with you. Conflict resolution issues where you guys are not resolving problems together as a
mhm.
couple, and it's just endless spirals of anger and until it sweeps under the rug.
And do you
A
find
lot more.
sometimes, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, just on that one you were saying, do you find sometimes that they might even create more of a conflict because it
Oh
gives
yeah.
them almost a reason, right? Like, oh, see, we're fighting all the time. It makes total sense why I'm doing this
Oh
over
yeah.
here. Yeah.
Self-justification,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm,
More secrecy around their phone. Most of us know this,
yep.
but secrecy around, who am I talking to? What am I doing? Covering the screen, clicking it off whenever you're around, putting a passcode on their phone all of a sudden.
Yep.
Sensitivity to you being near their phone, and they get upset if you pick up or touch their phone. That's a big one. The other one is a sudden, massive connection with somebody of the opposite sex, and you're trying to
Mhm.
tell yourself that it's okay. It's just
Yeah.
a friend, and they're insisting just a friend, just a friend, just a friend all the time.
Yeah.
Pretty big indicator, you guys. I hate to
Oh.
say this for everybody out there who's trying to believe and believe and believe, but
Yeah.
usually not a good one. And the other one, quite frankly, is as you start exhibiting these signs and seeing them, then they have an increase in emotional connectedness with you and an increase in sex with you. Because what happens is sometimes through
Cover up.
affairs, more extensive ones, they start getting oxytocin where they never got it before. And now they experience it with someone else. Now they kind of want it with you and they want to play around and have it with everybody. And they start really diving deeper with you as suspiciously as you also think they're having an affair. That's a
Hmm.
pretty clear sign that they're having a very intense emotional affair with somebody, usually as well.
Ah, it's nauseating. It's this is terrible. All right, so let's go back to the avoidant attachment style for a moment. So, okay, so should we assume if they are pulling away or just busy, are they just being busy or haven't we, or let me say that again. Hold on. I'm going to mark this. 1 sec. Okay, so let's go back to the avoidant attachment style. Should we assume that they are pulling away or maybe they're just busy if we haven't heard from them? How do we determine, which one it is? If we haven't heard from them, I tend to go, "Oh gosh, they don't like me anymore." I do that. That's the anxious, right? Is that the
That is.
anxious? Oh
That is.
god. I
And
know it.
emotional impermanence at the same time. So what that is, when avoidant people tend to pull away, if they're ethically avoidant, if they're not doing it punishingly and punitively towards you, if they're not saying you did this, now I won't talk to you, if they're not stonewalling you and giving you the silent treatment, and you usually know because they make sure you know, and they've done it a few times.
Mhm.
If they just get stressed out and then pull away and then come back and act like nothing has happened, or they come back with a box of chocolates 2 or 3 days later, if that's the case, then probably what you have is an ethical avoidant on your hands. They
Mhm.
get stressed and stressed and stressed. And remember that their trauma response gets worse when they get stressed out. So now they have no capacity to engage with you and they're afraid that something will go wrong. So when you send them a message or an emotional response or something like that, their brain dissociates from their own emotions and pushes it out and says, I can't deal with that right now. It's
Mhm.
a survival state thing and it turns off their relationship receptors. Remember, oxytocin, it clamps shut.
Yeah.
And so they even if they were bonding to you, it now shuts down as fast as possible. And it's just an endless cortisol ride. They say, I can't deal with this. So they pull away to
Yeah.
try to self-regulate alone. It's like a dog who's sick, crawling under the front porch to die and doesn't want anyone to bother him or anyone to poke him with a stick. He just wants to lay there and then hopefully feel better or die. Either way is fine.
Mm.
And that's the avoidant person.
Yeah.
I'm either going to get through this or I'm going to die. And that's just what it is. And they'll say that out loud.
Yeah.
And so they pull away to get through it because they don't know how to co-regulate with other humans.
Yeah.
They don't know how to regulate their nervous system except with dopamine and running away from the cortisol factor. That's all they understand. Run
Mm.
away from cortisol, binge with dopamine. That's
Yeah.
it. So they it's not personal to them pulling away. And the worst thing you can do is respond as if they're betraying you and then
Yeah.
chase them. I liken them to a scared cat. If a
Yeah.
cat gets scared and backs away from you, the worst thing you could do is football tackle that cat and grab it by the tail and start swinging it around, trying to make it love you. The
Right.
cat's going to claw your eyes out and then jump out the nearest window. So
Yep.
The worst thing you could do is chase. The best thing you could do is say, hey, I've noticed you've been really stressed lately. And I know sometimes when that happens, you need space. I want you to know it's okay for you to take space. But for me to give you that space,
Yeah.
I really would love it if you could just let me know about how much time you think you need and when you might want to reconnect with me. Can you
Oh,
let me know those
interesting.
dates so that I don't worry while you're disappeared?
So address it, but just not, but in a positive reinforcement kind of way. Like,
Mhm.
I'm here for you. Take your time, but address
Negotiate,
it. Yeah.
negotiate. I need this, you need that. Here's how we
Yeah.
take care of each other. Can we do it? Avoidant people understand transactions. They understand negotiations. They understand I will get this if you get that. They
Hmm.
understand selfish motives. So if you give them what your motive is and call out the elephant in the room, you're aware of it. And if you can stay calm and regulated, they can trust you like they've never trusted anybody. Then you're resolving stress with them. And this is what's fascinating. You then inspire the bonding hormone vasopressin,
Mm,
which vasopressin is released when we solve stress together, when we
okay.
overcome challenges together, when we achieve goals together. And men have more receptors for this than women do. Women do have receptors for it. And when you're avoidantly attached and your oxytocin receptors are dormant and covered in dust, they shift instead to accept vasopressin molecules. So they are overloaded with vasopressin receptors ready for that fire to roar through. It's like brush and wildfire. So when you vasopressin bond with them to help them resolve their stress, all of a sudden you are the most trusted human on the planet, like they've
Wow.
never trusted anybody before. This is why I have a video course, How to Love Your Avoidant Man. And
Mm,
in there, I talk about transactional language, solving stress together, and then bonding through this bonding back door so that they vasopressin bond with you and trust you. Symptoms come down, sympathetic nervous system deactivates, oxytocin receptors all of a sudden open up for the first time in their life, and then they flood oxytocin with you, and now they're bonded to you in a way they've never bonded to another human
mm,
being. And
that's
that's where you become
huge.
really loving, and that shuts down their cortisol level because their GABA floods. Now they can rest. So any lady who's ever had a guy that says, man, I don't know why. I just feel so much better around you. I feel so much more at peace. I just sleep deeper because of you. I don't know what it is. It's his nervous system. You're cooling his nervous system and you're giving him oxytocin and reducing his cortisol. You're being his peace. And
Yeah.
as you do that, that's what those men need. And then they bond with you and love you.
Wow. What's the time frame on that? I mean, I know not realistically, but do you just continually keep doing it and hoping that they get that way? Or is it something that can be fixed fairly quickly?
I mean, I most couples come into me and they grab 8 sessions, and by 4
And they're good.
sessions in, first time he's skeptical and afraid that I'm trying to like trap him in a cage,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Come on, fix us." And by the 4th session, he's so invested, it's not even funny, and they're bonding and loving and intimate, and he's saying, "I've never felt this with a human being before." And then by, 6, 7, he's like, "How could I have lived that way? What was I doing?" And they
Mm,
don't even know what to work on, and then we build forward into a better relationship. This is where a lot of guys who have cheated come into me because they've never felt this before, and we have to
yeah.
rebuild the marriage with that. But once you have this, it changes everything.
Oh, I
Like
love
that
it.
man changes as a human being. So it's a foundational transformation.
Wow. I love
It's
that.
it can be quick if he's ready. If he's
Okay.
ready.
That's, yep, that's the key. So, talking about anxious attachment, is that just a fancy term for emotional neediness? Would you say?
I mean, it's learned helplessness. You think
Yeah.
you need other people to make you feel safe, so you live a life that is built around pleasing other people so that they will allow you to feel safe.
Mm,
When you realize that you control how you feel, that you need to respect yourself, and only by doing so will other people come to respect you, and then you build stable relationships that way.
mhm.
That's the mechanism. But yes, until you do that, you're going to look clingy, desperate, afraid, overwhelming, smothering. You're the person that, you show up outside their window trying to get in at night because you're so lonely because he hasn't texted you in 5 minutes. That's anxious.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask that, are the anxious attachers, are they truly seeking love, or are they just caught in this continuous cycle of re-experiencing past wounds from trauma? Are they really wanting to be loved, do you think?
They they want to not be abandoned,
Yeah.
and they don't really know what love necessarily would feel like, except that approval and acceptance from others makes them feel safe.
Yeah.
So anybody who comes along who can make them feel approved of and safe becomes their they're God basically,
Hmm.
and they worship them and follow them around, serving them mindlessly, no matter what, no matter how awful that person is, no matter how abusive, no matter how controlling, no matter how drug addicted and angry and all kinds of things. They will do anything for that drug because they're addicted to it. They have to. That's all they know.
Oh, okay. So I've heard you talk
That's
about.
cheerful, right? Super
I know.
cheerful.
I'm
Now, a
like, I don't know where I want to be.
reminder, all of this can be fixed. Please, nobody go to your psych and try to up your meds, okay, from
Right,
this episode.
exactly.
This can be fixed,
We've got a
but
disclaimer here.
the reality is dark sometimes.
Yes, it is, but the resolve of it can be so light, right? In the end, it can be something amazing. Like you said, once you
It is.
feel like you have been fixed or you're on this pathway to this incredible journey, there's got to be something so rewarding of that, you know? I know.
It's what we're made for.
Yeah.
It's what we're made for. The biochemistry, when it's right, feels incredible.
So good.
It feels like life is good. Even if you're just living an okay life, it feels amazing.
Yeah.
It feels you're flooded with serotonin and content. You have oxytocin, so you feel loved. You have vasopressors, you know people have your back when things get tough. Your cortisol is very low, and if it bumps up a little bit, you fix it with your crew and you get it done again. You're sleeping good at night. Your cravings are down. You're more likely to have good health for your whole life and live to your 90 and enjoy every minute of it. You have better sex. You probably marry one person, have a bunch of fat, happy babies who then go on to have fat, happy babies. Life is good, even if you're just some Joe Schmo working in a factory or, you know, you're, whatever it is. Your life gets so good when you live within the proper biological channels that we're supposed to be doing. It's when you deviate from that you get punished, and you're supposed to be punished biologically because it's a non-optimal state. That's why it hurts. If you're in pain, there's a way to be not in pain. You just have to find the proper pathway.
Oh, yes. Amen to that. I love it. So I've heard you talk about these two terms, and I just want to get some clarification on what they are. So we have parentification, and then we have coercive soothing. I was like, ooh, what are those? Talk to me about those.
I'm glad you picked, you're shrewd on that one. Coercive soothing is a good one, and most people don't know what it means, and they don't even bother asking. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Coercive soothing is something that the more toxic, anxious person might do. It's those covert contracts. It's, you know, you made me feel this, therefore you are responsible for making me feel better. It's maybe your mother controlling you, saying, you hurt my feelings. Now, what are you going to do to make it right? It is your partner maybe telling you, you made me upset. Now you owe me X. It's forcing other people to cater to your feelings because you had a negative feeling. It's avoidant people are often afraid of this. They're terrified of this. They're afraid that they're going to get trapped in a relationship where they have to soothe their partner all the time against their will. You can't go see your friends because I've picked tonight to be my 4-hour crying session, and you need to hold me and stroke my hair and call me little bunny for the next 4 hours while I sob uncontrollably.
Little
Right?
bunny.
That's their vision, though, is that's going to happen because their parents usually said, I'm angry at you and now you must comply with my demands. And that's what made them avoidant in the first place in many cases. So coercive soothing, it can be very subtle. What's fascinating is the research is interesting. Intimate partner violence is most likely to be committed by a college-aged woman, because intimate partner violence includes pouting and being upset and angry and manipulative and forcing him to give you a kiss, forcing him to have sex with you to reassure you, forcing him to do a variety of sexual actions because he has to coercively soothe you. It is rampant among young women today. And not saying that men are not up to some bad things either, but that intimate partner violence of forced coercive soothing is pretty massive.
Oof.
Pretty massive.
Wow. I'm glad I asked. I did not know any of that. So thank you for that. So talk to me a little bit about online dating, where we're at with the online dating apps. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me spit. That'll
get that nastiness out of your mouth.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Did you know that only 2% of swipes are actually mutual swipes on a dating app? 2%.
2%.
So if you swipe, 2% of people you swipe on are likely to swipe on you. And of those, only 17% are likely to form a relationship. And
Mm.
of that, only 98% are likely going to break up. So you have something like a 0.02% chance of having a successful long-term relationship from a dating app. It's one of the most horrible methods on the planet. The only method worse than this is cold approach, where a guy finds a woman at the grocery store, leaps out at her from behind the watermelons and yells, "You're pretty," and tries to get her to go on a date with him. That's the only way it gets worse.
So what's left? What's our other option at this
Well,
point?
so we didn't have dating apps for most of human history. We didn't have
Mhm.
cold approach, leaping out at women from around a forest or a tree. It didn't usually work back in the day either. So what we have done throughout human history is you come pre-vetted through social networks.
Mm.
Sometimes that meant family and friend connections,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be arranged marriages. What we call assisted marriage was very common. Of, hey, we have a good match for you. Do you want to date this girl that we were friends with her family or the tribe next door? And the parents would set it up. They would talk and see if it was a good match. The kids would meet and see if they wanted to try it. And that's what they would do. Assisted marriage through
Mhm.
family and friend networks. In 1995, 65% of couples still met through family and friend networks. Now it's down to
Wow.
12.5%. Dating apps have replaced that.
Yeah.
65% of couples are meeting through dating apps. So, and part of that's because people don't have family and friend networks anymore. So who are you
Yeah.
going to go to?
Yeah.
Now, that's what we call personal matchmaking. There's
Mhm.
also professional matchmaking.
Mhm.
Professional matchmaking has been around through most cultures for all of human history. And what's interesting is professional matchmaking is making a massive comeback. There's a great company that I really like called Talkify, where they
Mhm.
have a massive database across the US, a very personalized service. You sign up with a coach, you sign up with them and talk with them, and they set you up on dates. And I was just talking to their CEO recently. She was on my show, and
Mhm.
they have something like an 80% success rate within the first 6
Wow.
dates of mutual connection, and a massively high rate of staying together in long-term relationships. So huge difference. But family and friend networks and professional matchmaking is really the way to go
The
going
way to
forward
go.
if you're serious about marriage. That's how I met
Mhm.
my wife all those years ago.
Through the matchmaking?
Through friends,
Through
matchmaking through
friends.
family and
Friends.
friends.
Okay.
It was our friends. We were our best friends were dating each other, and they said, I have someone that you've never met. And we were both like, well, I don't know. So we met, and it was just, I proposed 2 weeks after meeting my wife, actually. It wasn't even a
What?
proposition. It was caveman. It was, you will marry me because you are too good to let go. And she said, okay. And that was it. So we got married at 11 months. And now 16 years later, we've got 5 kids together. So
Wow. How do you
family and
think people
friends is the
would
way to go.
see that though? Okay, so like if I had somebody that was within the first couple weeks saying, "You are going to marry me," you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
know, do we see that? No offense, a little bit as love bombing at all? Mm.
Now
I guess.
let's figure this out. So I came pre-vetted as a friend
Okay,
of her best
true,
friend. So
true.
she had, decades of data on me, decades of
Yes.
information about how I had been in relationships, who I was, what my ethics were, how I resolved conflicts. And then when we met, that was the first stuff we started talking about. It was not like, oh, you're pretty. What movies do you like?
Yeah.
It was religion, it was ethics, it was life
Oh,
decisions, it was goals, what we were trying to achieve, what we
interesting.
wanted. And it was deep level conversations, not intellectual ones and not love bombing emotional ones,
Mm.
real logistical conversations about life. And
Mhm.
as we grew to mutually respect each other, mutually admire each other's character, and we could fall back on these decades of pre-information that we had from the other person, that was why at 2 weeks it was very apparent, like, I know who
Mm.
you are and they know who you are,
Mhm.
and so I can rely on that. And I love this, and I don't want anyone else to scoop you up. You're too good
Oh,
to
I
find.
love that.
That's why it worked that fast. And
Yeah.
when you have a pre-vetted network of people you trust, it goes so much easier.
Yeah.
When you're dating strangers in the forest, yeah, it takes a little bit longer to figure out that they're
Yeah.
not going to eat you. But
Yeah. Yeah, I often find going, on the dating sites because that's where I find myself these days, and seeing up front what these people are saying in their profiles. Yeah, I'm like, you don't even know what to believe half the time, right? Because sometimes now they have AI writing it for them. So is that even truly the person? But I laughed the other day at him because I matched with this guy who really spoke in his profile about that he's very much in his masculine energy. He's looking for a woman in her feminine energy. He's not looking to be controlling. He just wants to have this really great relationship where he can be more of a leader, the man, all of that good stuff. And the woman kind of follows.
I'm suspicious already.
Right. Which is what I was. And I was like, ooh, this sounds fun. To me, it was just like, oh, I want to see where this goes. Right.
Yeah.
And so I swiped on him and we matched. I guess he's in my 2%. And so we matched pretty quick. And then we started talking. And right off the bat, he was very much saying exactly the same of what he was looking for. He went over that real quick. And then he came back and said to me after we talked a little bit, he said, I think you're lovely. It would be a joy to have you on my arm, which I thought was such a funny thing to say. And then he said, call me at this number. I'm available after 6 p.m. any day, but text first before you do. And so I went back and I said, well, if I was being in my feminine energy, I wouldn't be calling you. You'd be asking me for my number and you would call. And he was very perplexed and unmatched me right away. Now, to me, that tells me that's somebody, this is not about masculine and feminine energy. This is about ego. I didn't obey, right? And you didn't get what you want. So you unmatched me and you're on to the next. So those are the things that I really find frustrating with the online dating. It was a little bit of an experiment for me. It went as I expected.
You will contact me in this window of time.
Yes. Isn't that wild? And so right away I was like, oh, that's not you just wanting to be a little bit in your masculine energy. That's something else.
That's a guy who has dived into the red pill dating forums and now thinks that being domineering and controlling is attractive.
Yes.
He's out to prey upon insecure women who will accommodate his behaviors is what he's doing.
Yes.
That's what that is.
And I will say that sadly, a few years ago, I would have been like, ooh, that's hot. I know I would have, and the growth. And that's what I love the most about doing the work and working with people like you is the growth that you feel once you get to that place where you recognize it, and I'm like, oh, no. And I was glad that he unmatched,
Yeah. So many guys, there's stages of masculinity and nice guys come in with no masculinity. It's fledgling like baby bird masculinity. It's like, please take care of me and you be my daddy. Almost is what it is. And that's unattractive. No woman wants that. But when you're in the insecure side of dating pool, all you see is anxious guys or avoidant guys. That's all you've got. So then the avoidant guys look like the upper crust and they're juvenile masculinity, the Andrew Tate swaggering, look at my Bugattis, I can have any woman I want, so you better get in line. And at least that's a step up into some kind of masculinity. So a lot of women go for that bad boy type because it's all they know. They don't want a bad boy. They want a masculine man. And that juvenile masculinity is all they can find. It's the mature masculinity of a securely attached man that you want to step up to and see where he has those conversations with you and says, hey, I'd love to talk with you. If you're comfortable reaching out to me, here's my number and these times work. Or if you'd rather, I can contact you at a time that works. That's secure masculinity. He takes the lead, but provides you options to help you feel comfortable and safe.
Absolutely. Had he said to me, may I have your number? I'd love to chat on the phone. To me, I would have been like, let's go. Let's see where this goes. Yeah.
That's what I tell men is, hey, I would love to carry this conversation on in person. Yeah. When are you comfortable doing that?
Perfect.
You state your intent and then ask her comfort level. Yeah. And that's ultimately how you do that properly.
Yeah. So not so much call me, text first.
You will call me. It worked for me because I was pre-vetted, but a stranger,
not happening.
Not so much. Yeah.
So what's one powerful piece of advice you'd give our listeners to start transforming their relationships today? Do you have one thing you can say?
Oh my goodness. If any of this has sounded familiar at all, please, the number one takeaway I want you to have is that all of this is fixable. You are not broken. You are not wounded. You are not unfixable or unsalvageable. You are a human being with learned behavior patterns and you can change those. All you needed was the information that there's another way to live. do some research, look around online, start making different conversations, having different conversations with people around you, asking different questions, start relating to people just a little bit differently and see how they react. You will see that you can change your patterns, and you'll see that people, most good people, really like it. So
Oh,
don't be afraid to make
perfect.
some changes. That's how
I
life
love
changes.
it. I love it, Adam. That's such great information. You're a wealth of knowledge in this area, which is just wonderful. So tell people where they can find you.
Sure. I am Adam Lane Smith. You will find me if you Google Adam Lane Smith. I'm on every single platform pretty much in the world. I do have a website, adamlanesmith.com, where you can work with me and my certified coaches and my flagship attachment repair program to fix your attachment, sometimes in as little as 6 sessions. It's
Mhm.
amazing how fast you can go when you really want to. I have video courses available for self-paced learning. I'm also on Instagram and YouTube as @attachmentadam. Come join me, come find me, leave me
Yes.
comments or DM me. I'm here to help.
I love it. And I'll put all of that in the show notes for everyone. So before you go, I'd like to play a little game called Would You Rather, if you don't mind.
Let's go.
So, okay, I have 10 easy questions, kind of in your area of expertise, maybe a couple shock and awe. I love that. So let's see. All right. Number 1, would you rather date someone who texts back instantly but is emotionally chaotic, or someone super secure but takes 3 business days to reply?
3 business days,
3.
because you can work with a secure person.
That's right. That's right. Number 2, would you rather help an avoidant partner open up emotionally, or help an anxious partner learn to self soothe, knowing that you can only pick one?
I'm going to get flack for this, but I would choose the avoidant because most of my friends are avoidant, and I know that their level of devotion is incredible when you can speak to them right and help them understand.
Okay, good answer. Number 3, would you rather help someone find love through a traditional blind date, or by navigating, well, I know the answer to this, by navigating the complexities of a dating app match?
Blind date. Blind
Should have
date,
known.
100%.
Note to self, write questions after the discussion. Number 4, would you rather fall for someone who makes you laugh uncontrollably, or someone who gives you butterflies every time they walk in the room?
Ugh, butterflies, no. Laughing is so much better. Butterflies fade with time, but the laughter stays.
Oh, I like that. That's a great little bumper sticker. Number 5, blindfolded surprises or playful role play?
Ooh,
Ooh.
blindfold.
Ooh, what was that little bunny you said?
I'm gonna have to
Come here,
remember that
little
and use
bunny.
that later. Yeah, I'll make child number 6 that way.
I'm like, that came from somewhere, someone's vault. Number 6, would you rather have the ability to read your partner's mind during sex, or be able to control their sensations with just a touch?
Boy, read the mind, because I love to cooperate with human beings and relationships in general. I think
Mm.
cooperation is better than control.
Gosh, I think you are one of the first people to ever say they wanted to read someone else's mind during sex. I think everybody's too afraid to know what they're thinking.
Well,
What's
and
for
you can tell
dinner?
what the grocery list is that she's thinking about too.
You can know exactly why you're in trouble for something. I mean, it's great. All right, number 7, trying new positions or mastering the classics?
Ooh, good question. Mastering new positions is more about dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
Exploring things is dopamine fixation. Mastering the classics means really engaging with deep eye level contact, serotonin, and oxytocin. So I would say people need to really master the classics before they start swinging from
Oh,
the chandelier.
good breakdown there, because I would normally say trying the new stuff, but then you're always having to up the ante every time,
Correct,
right?
correct. And that's how you get the police called.
Okay, that's another story. All right, number 8, would you rather be forced to ghost every person you date for the next year, or be unable to leave a bad relationship no matter what, if you were dating?
Ooh, savage. Ghost every person for a
Every
year or
person
leave
for
a
the
bad
next year.
relationship. I think I'd rather stay out of the bad relationship because it will suck the absolute life out of
Yeah,
you.
that could be the bad year anyway. So I'll just start ghosting people. Oh, would you rather have an anxious attachment meltdown go viral on TikTok, or accidentally receive a love confession from one of your clients?
I'll take the accidental confession because I get to bring it into session and say, okay, here's
What
what you should have
happened?
said to this person, and now let's get it right next time.
I like that one. Show them the video. All right, number 10, slow dancing in the living room or spontaneous dance moves in the kitchen?
Oh boy, my wife and I do both of those. So
Oh, that's
I don't
sweet.
know. Let's see. Slow dancing, I think, is a
Slow
lot more fun.
dancing. It's so sweet.
Because we have 5 kids clinging to us like marsupials and holding on to us, so you can't really fast dance when you have
No,
that
so
much
you're
weight. We're
all
clinging to
moving
you.
together.
Yeah, correct. You're
Yeah,
swaying in a giant ocean
I
like the
love it.
ants on a raft.
Perfect. Perfect. So you got 5 kids. What do you got? Boys, girls?
A mixture.
Oh,
3 girls, 2 boys, ages 1 to 8.
wow. So you're in the throes of it.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, 1 to 8.
every
Wow.
2
You
years.
guys.
If we could figure out what was causing it, then we could at least pause it.
Yes. What happened? You were just really in love. I like
We are
it.
very, very much in love. That's right.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me. What a treat to have you. Really, it's just been such a joy. I can't wait for everybody to hear this conversation. So informational. And to everyone out there that's listening, you can find me on any major streaming platform. You can email me at info@frommrs2ms.net. You can find me on Instagram or everywhere at from.mrs.2.ms. And I will have all of Adam's stuff in the show notes for you guys. So say goodbye to Adam for me.
Goodbye,
Bye.
everybody.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.